Now that's Huggie Pacino certified.
My other TV mobile, I have two. And I'll have the security officer to hold this one.
Okay, let me know if you guys need me again. I'm going to get in shot. Let me know if I'm watching or not.
All right, just tell them they're going to have to come down. There are going to be some guys telling them they can't come through.
Let me know if you guys need me anymore. I'm going to hang up. And I've got some call Arnold.
Ayuda media. I was next door. right, so right now we're live in Moody.
Hey. What's up? I thought it was autumn. One. Alright, you ready, Malik? Alright, she's calling in right now.
Sherry, information is hard to come by at this point right now. There are police and emergency vehicles for blocks in both directions. We just watched a medical helicopter lift off from this area. We're working to find more information now. We have several photographers and reporters on the scene trying to understand what has happened here that called for such an incredibly large police presence. But we'll make sure to get back to you as soon as we find out any more details, Sherry. Say again? Yeah, Autumn, what we want you to focus on is just efforting any information like nonstop right now. So,
Okay.
yep, and text me, update me.
Hey, can you scoot this way so I can fit in that one?
Hey. Okay, this is weird. Who are you with? I'm just someone that lives here. I'm going to put something online tomorrow.
Yeah.
Competition for over 20 years. Like,
Hey, I'm sorry. We're Alright, she's coming. Get in front of the camera, please.
Jack, we're still awaiting new information at this time, but just watching right now as this line of police vehicles and, of course, any of the law enforcement officers that we're able to speak with right now, their focus is on handling whatever is happening here at the Super 8 Motel in Moody. We've seen St. Clair County Sheriff's vehicles, Jefferson County Sheriff's vehicles, Leeds Police Department, Moody Police Department, and we're seeing right now another chopper overhead at this point. But as soon as we're able to get information, we're talking with people that were here as this unfolded. We're working on that, and we'll update you as soon as possible, Jack. What? I feel like they're looking for somebody. Is that what you said? This. Oh, no. They're gonna keep coming back to us. Yep. She said he's with ABC. The blue shirt tag. Trying to break into something. They're trying to break into one of the hotel rooms. I don't know. I thought they were breaking into something. Well, yes. Yes, Molly has information. Sherry, just giving you an update, and hopefully you might be able to hear it here. There's a series of loud bangs taking place in the background, sounding like it's coming from the Super 8 Motel parking lot. And if you guys want to take a look over at what we're seeing here, about 7, 8, maybe 9 bangs coming from that area. And right now, just trying to report to you what we're seeing and hearing. Law enforcement a few moments ago, about 3 or 4 officers running away from the parking lot area. We're still working to get more information, but right now, so many of these law enforcement officers on the scene that we're able to talk to aren't able to give us information at this time, Sherry. We just have what's on us. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, I mean, I was, like read the, because the guy that, okay, there is,
Yeah, take a breath.
Where's his room? Huh?
Where do you?
The guy that he was over in there, he took running away or something, so he got a room next to me.
So were you staying in here in this hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen
We
a
might
dog?
treat him live here in a second.
Have you seen a dog in there anywhere? A white dog?
Okay.
Yeah, right now.
Do you want to talk with us on camera about this real quick?
Just had to take cover a few moments ago.
These don't look good, so.
It's okay. Sherry, we're ready for you now. I'm joined now with a guest of the motel. Explain to us what unfolded earlier this evening.
Okay, what happened is there is a guy, and I believe he's a drug dealer, you know, and I believe he got a girlfriend and one of his friends or, you know, fellows. And I just moved today, you know, to room 216, and he's in 214, which means
Next to you?
Exactly, yeah. And I was fixing to go to work. Actually, at 10 o'clock, I work at Shell gas station, and around 9:20, 9:25, I heard a lot of noise.
Yes, sir.
For officer safety, if y'all could go over there.
Yes, sir.
With all your media stuff,
Yes,
please.
sir.
That'd be great. Just for officer safety. Okay?
Sherry, we're being told by officers to move locations. We'll come back. Will there be officers there to speak with us? And where did you want us to move? Just a block over?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
On the other side. Right? On the other side?
Yeah, just across the street, I guess.
I, you know, like sneak and I turn the lights on, you know. I mean, I saw, you know, like blue lights.
I'm going to just listen in real quick.
Actually, one of the Moody police officer, he was down, and I know him very well because actually.
Don't say any names, but yeah.
I don't really know his name, but I was actually.
Do you know why he was here, the police officer?
I don't know what happened, but they've been making noise and.
Okay. First, sir. Next one, arrest.
Information on what exactly took place in Moody tonight that led to this large outpouring of police presence there. So as our crew moves back at the request of law enforcement in Moody, we are showing you this image of ambulances downtown. You see police lights reflecting off of the side. A police and EMT response now at UAB Hospital in downtown Birmingham at 10:45. We intend to stay on the air working to get you more information.
Now, on this breaking news that began to unfold sometime after the 9 o'clock hour is when we began getting information, dispatching a crew there to the Moody area. This is along Moody Parkway, not the scene you're looking at here, but where that active scene is at the Super 8 Motel on Moody Parkway. Jack, you've got something?
We're seeing Calhoun County 911 saying that they are, on Facebook anyway, issuing prayers for the Moody police officer shot tonight. That is posted on social media from Calhoun County 911. That is the first we have heard from an official source relating to what might have happened here tonight. Our efforts to reach Moody Police, I've just reached out to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. They've not given us confirmed information. We are starting to see tweets tonight. Another from Gardendale Police. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Moody Police Department.
And that could explain the heavy police presence here at UAB Hospital, where again, around 10:20, we saw a helicopter land there at the scene. Listening to our producer here now with some confirmed information.
We have now confirmed that one officer has been shot and taken to the hospital, presumably a Moody police officer, corresponding with several things. Chief Thomas Hunt telling us that information with Moody Police Department tonight, that one of his officers has been shot and is now being taken to UAB Hospital.
Which is why, of course, we're hearing these prayers from other law enforcement agencies right now, who obviously in solidarity with men and women who serve in law enforcement, a huge show of support for one another, for putting their lives on the line every day. There on the Moody Parkway, where we see so many law enforcement vehicles there, several agencies. With Malik Rankin, if you've been watching us at least for the last 10 minutes, you saw the officer come over and ask them to move, and saying that is for the safety of the officers. And so there's still some concern about what is on that scene. It's an active scene, but what is there that still has such concern right now for law enforcement?
It's 10:47. Jack Royer and Sherry Jackson, Malik Rankin on the scene in Moody, as our crews are now spread out across our viewing area, working to bring you more live images. This is the scene again. It appears to be in Moody. Is that correct? Trying to show you what we've now confirmed from Moody, that a Moody police officer has been shot and transported to UAB hospital at this hour. To bring you up to speed, this all started unfolding in the 9 o'clock hour tonight. Our crews traveled quickly to get to the scene. We're just asked to move back for officer safety. It's unclear what is still going on inside this Super 8 motel where this scene is unfolded. So our vantage point is backed up a bit. As you see, numerous members of the media are on the scene tonight working to get more information. And we want to show you now back to UAB. Multiple other police officers now converging on downtown Birmingham, as we can confirm that one Moody police officer is now being treated at the hospital.
We're going to go back out to Malik Rankin now. Malik, they moved you, you're repositioned. What did he say?
This officer that just approached us asked us, all of the media members here, to take our cameras down, let them handle a few things, and that they could not answer any questions at this time. So as soon as we toss back to you all, we're going to turn our cameras off respectfully for the next few minutes, Sherry.
Okay.
That is quite an interesting development. Malik, thank you very much. We certainly want to respect law enforcement right now. You see they're going to do just that, turn their cameras off. That's not a request we've heard before that I can recall, Sherry, but at this time we've learned that a Moody police officer is being treated, and certainly our thoughts are with him, his family, and the Moody police right now.
At least one person shot. There is a scene at UAB Hospital where several law enforcement officers have gone to that location as well. This event going on sometime after 9 o'clock tonight, and we're again getting word from the chief of police at Moody Police confirming that it was one of his officers who was shot and has been transported to the hospital, and other law enforcement agencies posting on their social media pages tonight that they are praying for this officer and praying for the Moody Police Department.
We're working to learn more information right now about what exactly led up to this. Malik was just in the middle of an interview with a person who claimed to be right next door to this incident, whatever it may have been that unfolded in this Super 8 motel. Chief Thomas Hunt confirming that that Moody police officer has been taken to this location at UAB. We don't know for sure how he got there, although we do know that that lifesaver helicopter landed a short time ago and took off a few minutes later.
It landed when there was all of that police presence that looks like it's still out there in Moody. Several officers, as they are there trying to investigate that scene and asking the media to relocate, and even taking the extra step, asking them not to show on video what it was they're doing there. And we can say that often in certain situations in covering ongoing active scenes, that for the protection of law enforcement, there are things that we cannot show. But the officer coming over, and we heard him politely ask if they would move to another location, and then ask, as Malik told us, if they would turn off their cameras for the safety of the law enforcement officers who were there on the scene.
Yeah, and I alluded to that a moment ago, that in situations like these, often law enforcement ask us, in many cases, to not show certain things. I don't recall our crews in my time at CBS 42 being asked to turn off their cameras. That is an interesting development, but we will honor the request of Moody Police as our crews remain on the scene and able to report what they are witnessing and what they are seeing We attempt to guide you through this coverage tonight with respect for the officer who has been injured and has been transported to UAB Hospital, and certainly to his colleagues on the force and colleagues across the state who've now come to Moody to assist in whatever is continuing. And Sherry, worth noting again that while this is UAB Hospital downtown Birmingham, out in Moody, it appears it is very much an active scene at this hour.
And all you could see there on that street were law enforcement blue lights up and down the Moody Parkway around that Super 8 and whatever that business was that we were able to see before the officer asked Malik to turn off the camera. And we should say that our journalists who are there on the scene are still observing what they can, and when she comes back to us, we certainly will be able to ask her what it is they were able to observe. Again, she's talking with an eyewitness on the scene as well. We know that at one point, the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office tweeted out on their Twitter handle not to call 911 unless it was an emergency. And that scene, again, still very, very active.
We will stay on the air with you as we work to learn more information tonight. Sad to report that a Moody police officer has been shot and transported to the hospital. We have sadly covered these types of stories often enough that we can tell you they normally do not have a quick resolution. It may be hours or perhaps another day before we learn the identity of this officer, details of exactly what is going on. Often police do give information on camera to our reporters on the scene, as we now show you that UAB hospital shot. So we may learn something tonight in addition to what we've already learned, that a Moody police officer is being treated after being shot.
That shooting, we don't know the shooting, if this is the specific location, but we do know that on the scene there and on the Moody Parkway, the Super 8 motel, that there's lots of law enforcement, lots of activity there around the side of the building as well. Malik Rankin telling us that she heard some bangs while they were there on the scene, some loud noises, not clear what those were, and that she observed officers running from that parking lot. We also know that one of the law enforcement members came over to ask the crews to first to relocate, then to turn off the cameras. They said for a couple of minutes. We are standing by to be able to hear from Malik Rankin specifically what they were told, and in fact they told all of the news outlets that were standing there to relocate, and we could see some of them in that shot, Jack.
And for what it's worth noting that this is a very active scene still going on in Moody. I don't know if we have a tower cam or any sort of camera system that can access that location to just give you a look, not at the specifics of what law enforcement are doing, but perhaps this large scale response that is ongoing. We showed you a moment ago, Sherry just mentioned how massive a presence this was, but how it was not calm necessarily, calm in police terms certainly, but to the layperson watching from our vantage point, very active, as Malik noted, officers running in certain instances and coming to the scene, converging on it quickly, and it appeared things were happening on the second level of that Super 8. An eyewitness we spoke to saying that he was next door. That interview was cut short though, as Malik is working to get more information. Not sure if we could get Malik on the phone to tell us if she's learning anything, as we honor the Moody Police Department request that we turn off our cameras. But here's a live look again. I believe that is Moody. Is this live or tape, Ivy? Do we know? This is a live image of Moody Parkway. There's the Super 8. So we've backed up a ways away now as we confirm that one officer was shot and taken to the hospital. We now have a live image up to show you what we're seeing, and we will work to get in touch with Malik to tell us kind of exactly what has unfolded in the past few minutes.
And now you can see there actually either more officers have arrived on the scene. They are behind the vehicles at this point. But earlier, obviously, they were not in the middle of the street, so it appears that they've really converged on this location. You can see the Super 8 motel in the distance there. That is where we have been told that the police presence was. Again, we're not sure which of the two locations, that parking lot behind, there's a business with a name there that may be just sort of a staging area. We're unclear on that, but whatever is happening in all of that vicinity, lots of law enforcement. People are not walking around over there. We're going to stand by. Malik is calling in just a second to let us know what she's been told, what she observed during that period of time that they asked them to turn off the cameras, and again, maybe more on what that witness was able to tell her.
Michael Clark, our weekend anchor and reporter, lives near downtown Birmingham and has sent me an image I'll try to get on the air to you shortly. I'm going to try to send this to our news editors so we can get it on the air, but this is a vantage point showing a ambulance being escorted by police moments ago. So we've seen several things. Ambulances arriving at UAB under police escort and presence, and also that lifesaver helicopter leaving Moody rather moments ago, Sherry.
Let's listen in. We've got Malik on the phone right now. Malik, what happened when he asked you guys to turn off your cameras?
In that time, Sherry, we heard another very loud bang, louder than the ones we had previously heard. And after that point, another law enforcement officer approached us, asking us to move back further and to keep our cameras off at this time.
And so what we're looking at right now is the backs of vehicles. So you are very, very far away from that scene. They're asking you, even from where you guys are now, to turn off cameras?
So I'm in a different location, Sherry. Where I'm at is where we were seeing Andrea, our photographer, and I facing the parking lot of this Super 8 motel. Our other photographers are down the road from us, probably, I would assume, at least 2 blocks away.
Okay. So again, for our viewers here, we've got 2 crews on the scene shooting from different vantage points. Where Malik is right now, she's saying they do not have a camera on, but the distance where we are now, you see all the law enforcement officers coming around there. They are allowing our crew to shoot down there. But again, there is a very active scene, and it appears more officers coming there. And Malik, you're hearing loud noises. Is it a similar noise to what you heard earlier when you first arrived on the scene and heard those 3 loud bangs?
This was different. This was louder, and this was just one loud bang. What we had heard previously was about 7 or 8, maybe a couple more than that, quieter bangs than what we had just heard recently. There's still a lot of law enforcement officers in the parking lot of the Super 8 motel gathered together in one area. We're still awaiting more information, but all of the law enforcement officers that have spoken with us tonight, they've been polite, but they've asked us to be respectful and to turn our cameras off for a couple of minutes while they said that they needed to do a couple of things.
Malik, what about the witness? Were you able to talk further with him?
He was unavailable after, but in the moments before we were asked to move, he did say that he was in the room next. And according to this witness, he did say that he saw an officer that was shot.
Malik, give us the lay of the land. We have 2 crews in Moody tonight. Folks familiar with this portion of Moody in St. Clair County know it's just off of I-2059, or I-20 rather, in St. Clair County. This is a 4-lane highway that travels right through the heart of Moody. It'll take you from Leeds through Moody. A lot of businesses right here. There is a curfew in effect in a lot of different cities tonight. We want to give people an idea of where you are in comparison to the shot we're looking at, where Autumn and I believe Marlon are. Can you kind of tell us where you've moved to? Give us a landmark for people familiar with where you are.
Yes, Jack. So this Super 8 motel is on the intersection of Moody Parkway and Joey Adkins Drive. Where we are is directly across the street from the motel. We're in the Bancorp South Bank parking lot at this time with other members of the media that have been asked to move to this area out of respect for the officers that are hard at work here. They are still working, and that's why they're asking for their safety and for our safety to continue to back up, and we are waiting. They said that they would come back to us when we were able to put our cameras back up and running for you all to see what we're seeing here. But I am watching right now several, actually maybe 24 police officers walking away from the parking lot of the Super 8 motel at this time. There's not a sense of urgency in them walking away right now.
Malik, has the urgency that we've noted several times, have you seen a shift in mood or tone since you've been on the scene? It seemed very urgent moments ago, obviously so, with one officer shot and taken to the hospital. Have you noticed any changes since you've been on the scene?
It's hard to tell, Jack, because right now I'm hearing sirens in the distance, so it's giving us a bit mixed signals as to what all is happening, but I did just watch a couple dozen law enforcement officers walk out of this parking lot very slowly, very carefully, not in any hurry, not going anywhere particularly. A lot of vehicles here, a couple of blocks in both directions from what I'm seeing, and they're still just taking their time walking right now. But we do still hear a helicopter overhead, and those sirens I just mentioned have since been shut off.
And so, do you see whether or not there's anyone in custody? You said they're not moving with the same type of haste as earlier. Anyone in custody? Can you see that from where you are?
I'm going to step a little bit closer since our cameras are still off, but still, within the area that they're asking us to be. But I cannot. There are still dozens of law enforcement officers in the parking lot in this Super 8 motel. It's right next to Jay Lee's Cleaners. So we're seeing these officers standing right in between these two businesses right now. And as I just saw some walking away, we're now watching some more walk towards this area. And a lot are just standing watching right now, kind of looking at the same general direction in that space between the two businesses.
And so for our viewers, you're listening to Malik Rankin, who is on the other end of the video you're looking at. We have a crew here on the back end where you've seen some officers walk towards the camera and walk right past them. She's on the other side, which is closer to the Super 8, which you can see in the distance there. You don't see that side because they asked if she would turn off the camera, and so our crew on that end has turned off the camera. The crew on this end still taking a look down this long line of cars along the Moody Parkway. This is a scene that we've been following live on air since a little after 10 o'clock. We've been there on the scene trying to get information. What we know is what you see at the bottom of the screen, the Moody police chief confirming that an officer was shot and taken to the hospital. We've shown you that scene at UAB Hospital where there are several police cars as well, as that is the hospital the officer had been taken to. We do not have the officer's condition at this hour. We do not have further information as to whether there are any arrests or what actually unfolded here at this hotel.
Sherry, if you can hear me.
Yes, go ahead, Malik.
So I'm watching now a Jefferson County Sheriff's vehicle. This is interesting. There's officers that are on the outside of the vehicle, on the driver and back seat and passenger windows, on the outside as this vehicle is driving away at this point, and navigating their way through the sea of police, law enforcement, sheriff vehicles that are blocking off this road. So watching them drive away with officers in this moving vehicle on the outside of the vehicle.
So the officers are walking along the vehicle, and perhaps that's headed our way, or is that headed the opposite direction, Lee? I mean, Malik.
Yeah.
I think they're headed towards where our other crews are at this point.
Okay.
We want to quickly come away from a live picture to show you some videotape we have that I referenced a moment ago of an ambulance being escorted. It appeared down the Red Mountain Expressway. This is from Michael Clark's vantage point. You see police escorting an ambulance. It is unclear to us right now who would be on board that ambulance. We've also seen a lifesaver helicopter on the scene in Moody, but this is a somber scene regardless to see these police officers escorting an ambulance, as we now know that one officer has been shot. So this is videotape from Birmingham's south side, just east of the Red Mountain Expressway at about 3rd Avenue South is where this video was taken from by our reporter and weekend anchor Michael Clark. This back to a live look in Moody. We see some law enforcement attempting to, it appears, leave the area. As we work to find out more information, we remain very respectful of the law enforcement officers on the scene tonight, allowing them to do their job as they allow us to do ours, to bring you confirmed information, accurate information as we learn it tonight. At 11:05, if you're tuning into CBS 42 expecting regular programming, we are covering breaking news of a Moody police officer shot tonight and transported to UAB Hospital. It's unclear exactly how. Multiple EMT services on the scene, as are multiple agencies of law enforcement from Jefferson, St. Clair, Talladega counties, as well as local police departments from Leeds and Pell City. on the scene tonight. Still working a very active scene, but it appears some activity would indicate this scene is wrapping up in some sense. Malik Rankin hearing different loud bangs and things like that on the scene earlier.
And what you're seeing here, you can see two people standing there with American flags. Earlier, of course, law enforcement telling people to move out of that area, certainly to our news crews. And so now we're seeing some other people there and watching from this vantage point. More of the officers, as you said, Jack, get into their vehicles. There are several law enforcement agencies there on this particular scene. It is unclear at this hour whether someone on the scene will actually come out and speak to the media to let them know what's happening. But we can tell you on social media there's a lot of information out there. People are sharing, even other law enforcement agencies sharing their thoughts and prayers with this police department for the officer who was shot tonight.
And it's worth noting, too, that anytime a law enforcement officer is shot, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency takes over the investigation. That is standard practice and protocol. We've not been told that that has occurred here tonight, as it seems this is a very active scene still ongoing. So we assume information may eventually come from one place. Obviously, I'm sure law enforcement is still working to unpack and understand information at this hour at 11:07 p.m. Jack Royer, Sherry Jackson, Malik Rankin on the scene. She's been talking to us constantly. Malik, any updates from where you are right now?
And so again, you're looking here on my left here, you're seeing the scene in Moody. We've showed you the scene at UAB Hospital where an officer who was shot in that vicinity on Moody Parkway sometime tonight was taken to UAB Hospital. People in downtown Birmingham, one of our reporters, seeing a caravan, if you will, of police cars following an ambulance that we know went to UAB Hospital, where we were able to see officers even there, police cars stationed at that hospital, a typical sign of respect. We unfortunately have learned and know all too well in our community because of officers being shot in their line of duty. It's unclear what led to this shooting in the area on Moody Parkway. We're working to get those details as to what happened, but what we do know is that one Moody police officer was shot and transported to UAB Hospital, and several law enforcement agencies are there on that scene.
It's also unclear to us at this point. It's not been confirmed whether or not the Moody police officer was on duty at the time that this occurred. It happened at allegedly at a Super 8 motel. That is where the epicenter of this scene is at this hour still. You see that live image on the right-hand corner of your screen right now. And so, Sherry, we have a lot to find out still tonight. There is still a large police presence in two locations, as you mentioned, something we have become all too familiar with. On a week in which police were enforcing these curfews in effect in so many central Alabama cities, Jefferson County included. They now find themselves en masse on Moody Parkway in St. Clair County. I believe this section of Moody Parkway is in St. Clair County. Nonetheless, multiple agencies still on the scene with one officer shot, taken to the hospital, but it appears more work still to be done. And
hearing from Chief Thomas Hunt tonight that it was one of their officers. This scene has evolved a little bit, but not an awful lot. There's still several police vehicles there on the scene. Our crews, the shot you're looking at is from in the distance. You can see the motel, the Super 8 motel there. We are back along the Moody Parkway on one end. Our cameras on the other end is where we were told to shut off the cameras to allow law enforcement to do their job. We talked with Malik Rankin on the ground there on the phone. You've been hearing from her as well as to what she's observing and what she's been told. A little information from a person who says he was an eyewitness. That person is not talking anymore. Apparently he's no longer there. But again, the information we were able to get is that something happened inside the Super 8 motel, according to witnesses there on the scene.
And we're watching what's going on for you. We have multiple crews on the scene. And look at this. Now, law enforcement appearing to be leaving this scene. Worth noting again how many different agencies have been on this scene all night tonight, starting to clear out some from our vantage point. All of this began unfolding, at least to our knowledge, sometime in the 9 o'clock hour as we work to confirm information for you this evening. Reports of what people heard, we can only tell you what we have observed and confirmed. Malik Rankin hearing several loud bangs happening earlier as we wait at this media staging area in the middle of Moody Parkway, a very busy thoroughfare, even at this time of night with traffic. It's a 4-lane highway. People who live there know that. We're standing in the middle of it waiting on police to give us an update.
Malik, what are you hearing right now?
Hey, Sherry. So I just tried to speak with one of the law enforcement officers on the scene here to get an understanding if and when we would be able to turn our camera equipment back on. He said he would touch base with the sheriff, and hopefully they will be coming to talk with us at some point this evening.
Okay, so again, we're watching sort of the line of cars on this end of that scene thin out just a little bit. We've seen lots of officers walk past our cameras and not return, probably getting in other vehicles that are there. We've seen some vehicles turn around. One officer shot here at this location along the Moody Parkway. That officer transported to UAB Hospital. That's the other scene you're looking at here on the screen. There are officers there as well at UAB Hospital standing by, showing the respect. Other law enforcement agencies at this hour also tweeting their thoughts and prayers with this police department and with this officer who was shot.
And worth noting as well, the size of a department like this. According to their website, Moody Police Department consists of only 20 highly trained police officers there. So just compare that to the city of Birmingham, nearly 1,000 sworn officers who wear the badge every day. In Moody, just 20 officers. One of them has been shot and taken to UAB. As Sherry noted, these are the two live images. It is a split screen night here as we watch UAB Hospital, where we've seen an ambulance come in under a police escort. We also saw the lifesaver helicopter land at the scene on the left side of your screen about an hour ago and then pick back up moments later, presumably going to UAB. It is unclear how this officer who was shot was transported to the hospital. It's also unclear if he was on duty or off duty. We await more information from law enforcement, and as you heard Malik say, we await our ability to turn our camera, at least one of them, back on, as police have requested for their safety that we not broadcast what they were doing for this moment.
And we should point out, you're watching a lot of ambulance come through and go into UAB Hospital, not necessarily associated with this scene at all. It's a busy hospital, but those officers are definitely stationed there, the ones who are outside with their lights on in this show of respect for this officer who was shot tonight. We are waiting to see whether someone on the scene in Moody, on the other side of your screen, if anyone there in law enforcement will come out and talk to the media who are there. We did get a statement from the Moody police chief specifically and confirming that one of their officers was shot and that officer was taken to the hospital. Malik, is that you?
Yes, it appears that a man in handcuffs is being placed in a sheriff's vehicle at this point. He's wearing an orange T-shirt, and that's about all I can see from this vantage point.
Is that a Jefferson County sheriff's vehicle or St. Clair County?
It's just an SUV, a law enforcement vehicle. I can't tell what jurisdiction it is at this point.
Okay.
So unclear exact. I assume somebody there would be taken to the St. Clair County facility, but multiple agencies on the scene. Malik, are you seeing officers begin to leave this scene? Is it still just as busy as you saw it earlier?
I have not seen any officers leave the scene. We have seen some vehicles shuffle around and kind of navigate their way through this sea of law enforcement vehicles in this area. But what we were showing you all when we were able to have our cameras up and running before is still very much what we're seeing in regards to the law enforcement vehicle presence in this area, Jack.
Well, we know from other law enforcement agencies, the Gardendale Police Department tweeting that their thoughts and prayers are there with Moody, and then also something from the Calhoun 911. Jack, what was that tweet in particular? I'll pull it up real quick. Their prayers for the Moody police officer shot tonight. So word obviously getting around in the law enforcement community, and certainly for those people who are in that area of this scene where they see all of these police vehicles and want to know what's going on. Just getting the word out. At one point tonight, the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office tweeting out to people, did they post that or they put that information out, not to call 911 unless it was an absolute emergency?
Yeah, that was the county issuing that moments ago. So asking for respect there tonight as they try to do their jobs as we watch UAB Hospital and Moody simultaneously tonight. UAB is where an officer shot from the Moody Police Department has been taken at 11:16. We're coming up on an hour since we began following this story visually, seeing it with our cameras, and after this unfolded, sometime shortly before 10 o'clock, we heard word that something had occurred here, that there was some sort of death investigation, or an investigation, I should say, forgive me there, as we have now confirmed that an officer has been shot and taken to UAB. That is all we have confirmed. Forgive me for misspeaking there.
And indeed, as we watch to see what's happening, parts of what we've seen sadly has been typical in this situation, but there have been some things that have not been, certainly with our crews on the scene being told to turn off their cameras, hearing the loud bangs a couple of times. They were there, the scene very, very active pretty early as we began showing you the video that we saw that included a helicopter landing on the scene, a helicopter taking off, and again, we did learn that the officer was transported to UAB Hospital. We did show you video of an ambulance going to UAB Hospital with a series of other law enforcement vehicles trailing behind it with their lights on as an escort.
So two scenes right now to follow for you at 11:18 p.m. on this Tuesday night. A very busy news week already, a very busy week for law enforcement across the city and the area. We mentioned the curfews that were in effect tonight. So Moody Parkway all but shut down at this hour as we watch these two images. Malik noted a moment ago, as we take this image full, you can see some people standing off to the left with American flags. We don't believe this was related to any protest or anything tonight. It's unclear exactly what led to this occurrence of an officer being shot. But the epicenter of this scene is that Super 8 motel you see in the middle of your frame of your television screen, as so many officers have remained on the scene for the past few hours, and now other law enforcement asking for prayers for the Moody Police Department after this officer was shot.
We are standing by to get more information, confirmed information as to what happened specifically here. We believe the scene is at that Super 8 motel that you can see in the distance. We did talk to one witness, an eyewitness who was inside the hotel when something unfolded. He spoke with our Malik Rankin there on the scene. Law enforcement, although they've given some direction, we did hear from Chief Thomas Hunt that was one of their officers who was shot there at that hotel or at that location, and that officer was transported to the hospital tonight. That's the confirmed information. We observed a person, our crew on the scene observed a person in handcuffs and a t-shirt being taken off the scene, but that's all we know about that person. No word on whether that there's a suspect or anything of that nature, or for what the person was taken into custody, but Malik Rankin did observe that on the scene. But again, officers telling them, law enforcement telling them at a couple of points to turn off their cameras. In fact, that's why you're looking at the scene from this vantage point. We have two crews at this location, and if you're out in that vicinity, that area of the Moody Parkway in both directions of the side of that hotel, just a sea of law enforcement. Blue lights is all you see in both directions. And we've seen some cars leave, don't know what's happening on the other side because we can't see that anymore. Malik, on your end, have you seen as many of those vehicles pull out?
On our end, we are seeing some vehicles moving at this point. I'm watching a Leeds police vehicle and some unmarked vehicles as well leave this area, maneuver their way through the sea of vehicles here. And Sherry, since we spoke last, I was able to make out what vehicle that was, that it appeared a man in handcuffs was placed into. It's a St. Clair County Sheriff's vehicle. It's an SUV, and right now I'm watching as well another St. Clair County Sheriff's vehicle back up out of the motel, the Super 8 motel parking lot. And still looking to my left and my right, there is still what appears from here to be just an endless line of blue lights in this area. We are awaiting. We were told that we should hope to hear from the St. Clair County Sheriff this evening, so we're hoping to get that information. Still awaiting an okay for us to power our gear back up. But even driving here this evening, trying to get to this area to meet up with our field crews, there were several police vehicles speeding past us with their lights on and their sirens off, coming to this same location. And coming through here, there is at least, from what I can see, 2 blocks of police vehicles lining this road. And with this area, officers hard at work, concerned for their safety, for our safety, which is why they have continually pushed us back. And then, just not long ago, asking us to turn off our camera gear right now so that they could get to work.
We were able to see some people standing there, a crowd gathering here back on this end. Do you see people down there just trying to observe what's happening?
There is a building across the street from where we're located on the same side of the street as the motel. The building logo says Odessa, and there does appear to be a crowd of people over there watching what's unfolding here. And I am watching right now about a dozen law enforcement officers with what looks like AR-15s in their hands, walking away from the motel at this time.
And Malik, we're observing now, it looks like a collection of officers from different jurisdictions and what looks like a police chief, I'm unclear if it's Chief Hunt right now, walking towards this media staging area. At least 7 or 8 different officers walking at least past our cameras, but near where this vantage point that we're able to show our viewers is. It would indicate that at some point they're going to be giving more information about what's happened here tonight, as we're seeing some officers both leave in vehicles and walking away. Yeah, now in larger numbers starting to walk away, some on the phone, but leaving with their gear. One of them just removed a helmet that he had on. So some changes now to the scene from where we are watching at this point, hoping to get new information for you on CBS 42. Jack Royer, Sherry Jackson, Malik Rankin on the scene of an officer-involved shooting. One officer shot and taken to UAB Hospital at 11:23 p.m.
We've been watching this for, as you said, a couple of hours now as this situation has evolved. 2 different scenes at UAB Hospital where the officer was taken, this scene where there's still a lot of police presence, although some of them are starting to leave. It gives you an idea of just how many officers and sheriff's deputies were there. As you can see, as some leave, it's still a lot of vehicles. We see some of the vehicles right now turning around and pulling out of this location on the Moody Parkway. If you're just joining us, that Super 8 motel is the scene where we're told tonight by Chief Thomas Hunt with the Moody Police Department that one of their officers was shot tonight and transported to the hospital. These vehicles coming out of there very slowly. Our Malik Rankin observed one person in handcuffs taken away in a St. Clair County Sheriff's Deputy vehicle. We are awaiting information from law enforcement just to the particulars of what unfolded here tonight that has caused this scene. Beyond the officer being shot, there appeared, even after the ambulance went away, that there was still something very intense going on at that scene.
Yeah, very active for the last hour as we watch this. And if we can show you that split screen one more time, if that's possible, the presence at UAB has diminished a bit, it would appear. This is a live split screen, 2 live images, one at UAB Hospital, one in Moody. And I'm not sure if both of these cameras could pan a little bit to kind of show you the lay of the land. That you're looking at the ambulance intake at the emergency room at UAB Hospital on the right. On the left is still that scene in Moody that we're observing as some officers have begun to move around a little bit and leave that scene tonight with one officer from the Moody Police Department, one of their 20 sworn officers shot and taken to the hospital.
Other law enforcement agencies posting thoughts and prayers for the Moody Police Department, for the officer indeed who was shot tonight. These other forms of support, several agencies, different agencies there in Moody tonight at this location. In support, but also investigating and containing, dealing with whatever this scene is. Our reporter there on the scene, Malik Rankin, observing several things. Once being told to turn off the camera, which is on the other end, but we have 2 crews there, but also hearing loud noises, loud bangs, seeing it sometimes officers run from a parking lot over there, seeing the scene calm down somewhat, but still remain very tense. We are awaiting information from one of the law enforcement agencies there. Malik, you believe it's going to be the sheriff that will talk? Do we still have Malik?
Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Malik.
now we do.
Okay, good. Yes, that is what law enforcement officers on the scene are telling me here. But they are saying that he should be coming to speak with us shortly. We are still waiting on that. We are watching a lot of vehicles move from this area where I'm at, just in front of the Super 8 Motel on Moody Parkway in this area. That crowd of law enforcement officers that I had mentioned earlier that were in the parking lot of this motel in between an adjacent building, J. Lee's Cleaners, they have since dispersed. We're watching a lot of officers come back to their vehicles. Some of them put their weapons away, remove their vests, take their helmets off in this area, and we're also just now watching about a dozen more law enforcement officers leave the parking lot of this motel as we await an update from the sheriff on this, Sherry.
And so the things we want to know, obviously, what were those loud bangs? What is the condition of the officer who was taken away? As you see, you can't see this, Malik, but at UAB now, although we see a vehicle there, the lights are turned off. On that particular law enforcement vehicle that's parked there by the
There
intake.
goes the State Bureau of Investigation, who will likely take over this investigation. We'll learn more about that when we hear it from the sheriff in just a moment, but that is what we told you a moment ago, suspecting that another outside agency, often SBI or ALEA, takes over when an officer is involved in any sort of shooting. So we just saw an SBI vehicle pull through as we're seeing some of the local personnel come away from this scene. Watching with you tonight, we've been on the air since the 10 o'clock news began, now some 88 minutes ago. We thank you for trusting CBS 42 and staying with us tonight. I'm Jack Royer, along with Sherry Jackson and Malik Rankin on the scene. We have several crews in Moody, one at UAB Hospital in downtown Birmingham, watching with you and learning new information to bring to you as it is given to us, as we can confirm it. So the presence of police in Moody starting to diminish a bit. At UAB Hospital, we're watching to see what's going on there. Unclear tonight how the officer who was shot from Moody was taken to the hospital. We've seen a helicopter and then video that we showed you earlier of an ambulance being escorted by police.
We can tell you that sometime after 9 o'clock is when we first started getting information in our newsroom about this scene in Moody of heavy police presence along the Moody Parkway by the Super 8 Motel. By the time our crews got there, we could see just how heavy it was, an unbelievable amount of law enforcement all along the Moody Parkway for blocks, as Malik Rankin told us there on the scene, and several different agencies as well. We have observed some things, and at one point our crews even being told to turn off their cameras out of respect for law enforcement, to allow them to do their job safely, were the words. We also observed law enforcement coming over and telling our crews to relocate to another area, which is why we're looking at this from one vantage point point, and Malik Rankin is on the other end of this long line of police cars that you see, where she's getting information.
And Sherry, if you can hear me, just a couple new developments I'm watching here. Another person in handcuffs being walked away by a law enforcement officer. A little bit difficult to make out what this person looks like, but they are being walked down away from the motel in this area. And also the State Bureau of Investigation, their crime scene unit, has pulled up to the parking lot in this motel, and they are unpacking and heading into the motel parking lot, Sherry.
Okay, so they're going into the parking lot. Malik, we've been talking about that Super 8 motel, and we heard from the eyewitness. Are they going in and out of the hotel itself?
It's hard to tell from where we are because of the way that this is angled and the position that they have us in. But right now, what I can see looking at this parking lot, there's now another couple dozen law enforcement officers in the parking lot, standing, talking with each other at this point. And like I just said, watching a second person in handcuffs being escorted away by a law enforcement officer.
So that is a new development right now. We've now seen two people. Malik Rankin is reporting two people she's observed being taken away by law enforcement in the past few minutes as officers begin to leave the scene. So let's run down what we know. If you're just tuning in at 11:31, you're watching breaking news coverage on CBS 42 of a Moody police officer shot tonight in Moody, reportedly along this scene on Moody Parkway, the epicenter of which is at that Super 8 motel along Moody Parkway in St. Clair County. We've now observed two people being taken into custody in some form or fashion by St. Clair County Sheriff's deputies. The officer shot has been taken to UAB Hospital, we're told, by Chief Thomas Hunt, and in any moment we're expecting a live update from the Sheriff of St. Clair County.
In the meantime, our Malik Rankin standing there on the scene, getting information and relaying to us by phone what she is observing. We have another crew on this end of the Moody Parkway. As you can see, these vehicles who are leaving the other location just kind of drive past our cameras and away from this scene. At the same time, we saw a State Bureau of Investigation vehicle go into the scene, and Malik Rankin seeing them get out of the car there in the parking lot of the Super 8 motel. As you said, Jack, she has seen at least two people being taken away in handcuffs there. And now we see a flatbed truck going into this location. That's what you're looking at on the scene, going closer there to towards the motel.
Yeah, that's a tow truck coming in. This is the same roadway we just watched the SBI come in, the State Bureau of Investigation, to allegedly, or I assume I should say, begin the investigation into what happened here tonight. It looks like we have some tape we can show you from our vantage point a moment ago. This was probably about 45 minutes ago. If we can call up that video, I'm not sure if we can or not. There is video we could show you shortly. This is not a live image, but moments ago from where Malik was and before she was asked to move by law enforcement. So this is earlier tonight, videotape showing you this Super 8 motel in Moody with this large police presence. This was earlier tonight where we believe this officer was shot. We talked to an eyewitness who began to tell us what he heard happening tonight before this officer was taken to UAB and our crews were asked to turn around. I believe this camera is going to show this helicopter landing perhaps in a second. There we go. This is video from about 45 minutes ago when that Lifesaver helicopter took off from the scene where we had watched it land. So this is what it looked like at about 10:28 before we began live breaking coverage of what's unfolded in the past hour. And
even after this helicopter took off, that scene was still very, very active with officers running in different locations. It has calmed down a lot since then. I mean, even at this hour, we hadn't been told that the officer was shot. But since then, shortly after that, in fact, we learned, confirmed from the Moody Police Chief Thomas Hunt, that they had an officer who was shot tonight. We started seeing other law enforcement agencies posting other thoughts and prayers with the Moody Police Department, which, as you said, Jack, is a smaller police department. The number of cars there on the scene outnumbering the number of police the Moody Police Department has. And so this show of support for fellow law enforcement officers is very strong. From this all the way to the escorts to the hospital, We are waiting to hear from those officers on the scene. Again, this is not a live look, but this is to give you just an idea of what we saw earlier this evening on just the number of law enforcement officers at this Super 8 motel here in Moody, which is right by the J-Lee Cleaners. Right at that location, lots of police activity and loud noises, things that people who were in that vicinity clearly observed.
And so we want to, if we can, go back to this live image to show you as some of these law enforcement officers. This is now a live image from Moody leaving the scene along Moody Parkway. This is cleared out substantially from moments ago when officers from several different jurisdictions were on the scene in this 4-lane highway tonight, all but blocking every sort of activity except that police investigation that was underway. And now this car right in front of us, you see our camera having to move as this scene is beginning to clear. So we anticipate in any moment now hearing more information from officials and from the sheriff, as who we're told will be the point of contact here for this investigation, for what's happening as more vehicles, presumably from SBI, move in, local law enforcement begin to move out. And you see, if I'm oriented correctly, I believe they're going to do a flip around and get back on the interstate there. If I'm looking at where I think I am seeing along Moody Parkway, one officer shot, as Sherry noted, the sadness of the fact that the law enforcement that come to respond outnumber the sworn officers for the Moody Police Department. Relatively small, just 20 officers on the force there in Moody. As Autumn Bracey is live at UAB, where this officer was taken tonight. Autumn, you're on the scene. What can you tell us? What have you seen?
Well, yes, Jack, here at UAB, where the officer that was shot at the Super 8 motel in Moody just a couple hours ago is currently being treated for his injuries. At this time, we don't know the extent, but I'm going to step out of the shot so you can get a look of the police officers that are here showing their support for him at this time. Of course, the situation is ongoing, and we will keep you updated as we do find out more information. For now, that is the very latest. Live in Birmingham, Autumn Bracey, CBS 42 News, local coverage you can count on.
Autumn, thank you. Just one of the locations, one of the scenes we're covering here from the officer shot in Moody tonight, taken to UAB Hospital, a very active scene still on the Moody Parkway by the Super 8 motel. We are seeing officers come and go. We've seen a flatbed truck move in. We've seen the State Bureau of Investigation move in as well. We're waiting to hear from law enforcement there on the scene, specifically what happened there tonight.
That flatbed Sherry mentions looked to be a tow truck. We know oftentimes they will impound a vehicle related to crimes, of course. It's unclear exactly what the use for some of these vehicles will be. As we now can show you, there's an ambulance leaving the scene. So in just the past 5 minutes, the majority of this police response appears to have left the scene, and I'm not sure if we can show you any tighter a shot, if we can zoom in at all to show you exactly what's left closer to this Super 8 motel as we move slightly forward. And it appears we're going to get ready here in a second to hear from the sheriff. That's who will be giving us updated information on exactly what transpired here this evening.
But we do know that other law enforcement agencies in our area are sending out thoughts and prayers to the Moody Police Department for the officer who was shot. Gardendale Police, one of those agencies as well, sending out information. Malik Rankin is there on the scene as well, waiting to hear and on the phone with us right now, just letting us know what she is seeing as they perhaps get ready to talk to the media there.
Yeah, we're watching another live image we'll show you when we can of a media staging area as reporters stand by to hear more information from law enforcement. And we'll be able to give you more confirmed information very shortly as we see people starting to leave the scene here, law enforcement that is. So we are moments away, looking at another monitor, watching the staging area get set up, reporters starting to gather to hear from the sheriff shortly of St. Clair County, Alabama, to tell us about one of the 20 Moody police officers shot tonight. It is unclear even if it was in the line of duty. We don't yet know if this officer was on duty or off, but we know he's being treated for injuries at UAB.
And we know whatever the call was that a lot of people came out. We're getting some new information right now.
Yeah, we want to stay with you as we are working to learn more. Forgive us as we have new information coming in shortly. We're watching. The chief is about to talk. That would be Thomas Hunt. We were told the sheriff may be speaking, but we're awaiting information. I see our camera.
Sergeant
Let's listen in.
Stephen
It's a phone
Williams.
call.
Stephen is a 23-year veteran. He's been with Moody Police Department for 3 years, and he was our night shift sergeant. Of course, the investigation is still ongoing and will be ongoing for days. Leah, along with the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department, will be conducting the investigation, so I will not be answering any questions on the investigation of the hows and the why this happened. All I can ask is for everybody to please be in prayer for the Williams family and for the Moody Police Department. And you know, as more information comes available, then we'll be able to release more at that time.
Hey, Chief, it's Carol Robinson. So I'm so sorry. Can you spell Sergeant Williams' first name? Is it with a PH or a V?
It is with a PH, S-T-E-P-H-E-N.
How long was he with the police department?
He's been with Moody for 3 years, but he's been policing for 23.
Do you know what the initial call was that brought y'all here?
I do not at this time. Like I said, it's still under investigation, and I'm still getting information on it myself, but I do not know what the initial call was that started all of it. Of course, I know y'all were there on the scene, and you do know what happened there at the Super 8 Motel. But again, Leah, along with the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department, is investigating it. We will be doing probably a press release, another one with more details involved once we get a little further along in the investigation here in the next few days.
How would you like Sergeant Williams to be remembered? What was he like?
Oh, he was awesome. He was awesome. Just a good man, good person, funny to be around. He was one of my Keith Turner Officer of the Year Award a couple of years ago. He'd been a sergeant with us, and now made the rank of sergeant here within this last year. Worked night shift for us. Very thorough in his paperwork. Very thorough as a sergeant. Good teacher. Good mentor. A lot of guys looked up to Stephen as a very good close friend.
And you mentioned Officer Keith Turner. That is the last time that an officer has been killed in the line of duty until tonight, correct?
That is correct.
Chief, I'm sorry if you mentioned this. Can you just, if you had the information, we saw 2 women brought out. Can you just tell us how many suspects were taken into custody?
We do have 2 people in custody.
Are they both female?
We have 1 male and 1 female.
Okay, thank you.
Are you able to explain to us any of the things we heard this evening, several loud bangs throughout the night?
The loud bangs you more likely heard was the SWAT teams shooting tear gas into the actual hotel room, where it was cleared out to make sure there were no other suspects involved, which there was not. So that's why we have 2 suspects in custody.
Chief, can you spell the officer's name one more time for me?
Yes, Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S.
Chief, we really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
No problem. Does anybody else have any questions or anything before we go?
I think we're good. Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank y'all.
And for those of you all that can still hear me, just a bit of a recap as to what the Moody Police Chief just said. This was Sgt Stephen Williams. He died. He was a 23-year police veteran, 3 of those years with the Moody Police Department. The Moody Police Chief described him as a good man, funny. He recently won Officer of the Year a few years ago. 2 people are in custody. The Moody Police Chief says 1 male and 1 female, and we did ask what those loud bangs we had heard earlier this evening were. The Moody Police Chief said that those were tear gas being deployed to make sure that there were no other suspects in the area, which he said that there were not. Sherry and Jack?
Malik, go ahead, Jack.
Just a tragic night for the Moody Police Department. One of their 20 sworn officers killed tonight, as we can now confirm. His name is Stephen Williams, as Malik reported. 23 years of veteran, the night shift sergeant for Moody. An investigation now ongoing of how this officer was killed. The chief saying to Malik moments ago that they would not be answering questions about the investigation specifically, but our thoughts with the Moody Police Department.
Indeed, the Sheriff's Department and the Alabama law enforcement agency now investigating this case. He expects to send out a news release, but lots of thoughts and prayers going out for the family of Sgt Stephen Williams, a 23-year veteran of law enforcement, had been with the Moody Police Department for 3 years. 2 women taken into custody from this scene tonight. And again, just a sad, heartbreaking night there for the small Moody Police Department, losing a man who they say had been a leader there for that night shift.
And the composure of Chief Hunt speaking to reporters by phone is so admirable. I think I heard him choke up a little bit when asked how he would remember this officer, how he would remember Stephen Williams as a funny guy, just somebody that he trusted and liked, and was, as Sherry mentioned, clearly a leader in the Moody Police Department for the 3 of the 23 years this man spent in law enforcement. As we said, our thoughts with the Moody Police Department and all law enforcement affected by losing one of their own.
And again, this has been breaking news that we're covering here on CBS 42 sometime after 9 o'clock tonight. This scene in Moody along the Moody Parkway at the Super 8 Motel where all of this unfolded. An officer killed in the line of duty tonight, body taken to UAB Hospital. Hearing from the police chief of that department, Chief Hunt, on what unfolded there. 2 people in custody. We will find out more information as it is released from law enforcement.
And we will have the latest constantly for you at CBS42.com. We will work to learn more about this officer, to remember him properly, and to give you the latest details, as Sherry mentioned, of exactly what happened in Moody tonight. All of it is at CBS42.com. And we're going to continue our coverage at this hour as we have more vantage points and different looks now. We want to show you the scene, I believe, in downtown Birmingham, Sherry.
Yeah, this is at UAB Hospital. Is that correct, Andy? This is another one of our crews. Andrew is here on the scene, and we see some of these officers there. These look like Birmingham police officers. And again, as we've seen, the unity among law enforcement, even during this time, all of these officers there. We saw a caravan follow an ambulance there to UAB Hospital. This one with the lights on. As we know, that is where Sgt Stephen Williams was taken tonight. Again, losing his life in the line of duty, a night sergeant with Moody Police.
And what we've seen too often, as Sherry has noted, as we've noted tonight, this has been the type of story we've covered all too often in our community. And we often see a procession after the news of an officer succumbing to injuries, being killed in the line of duty. We will often see the body of that officer taken from the hospital with a police escort of brothers and sisters in blue who wish to be with that officer one final time. And so we're expecting that could happen here tonight as we watch the scene at UAB Hospital in downtown Birmingham and continue this breaking news coverage and the fallout, the aftermath of what has transpired. Malik Rankin is live tonight, still in Moody. Malik, you just spoke to the chief. It appeared via phone. Tell us any more details you've learned.
The scene has changed here. The sea of law enforcement vehicles that were lining Moody Parkway has since dispersed. Just maybe a dozen or so vehicles still here at this time. And speaking to the Moody police chief, he did confirm that Sgt Stephen Williams, a Moody police officer, was shot and killed tonight. He was a 23-year police veteran, 3 of those years spent with the Moody Police Department. And when we asked him how he would like Sgt Williams to be remembered, he said he was a good man, a funny man. He recently won Officer of the Year. So the hearts are heavy with law enforcement officers now. And I'll step aside for one final look at the scene here so that you all can see what we're seeing here. But the Moody police chief did say 2 are in custody, 1 male and 1 female. Jack, will send it back over to you and Sherry in the studio.
Okay, so that's to confirm 1 male and 1 female taken into custody, Malik?
That is correct. The Moody police chief said that when we spoke with him on the phone just a few minutes ago. 2 suspects in custody, 1 male, 1 female.
Okay, that's Malik Rankin on the scene in Moody, where Sgt Stephen Williams was killed in the line of duty tonight. We want to take you to the other scene at UAB Hospital. That is where he was taken tonight by an escort of law enforcement and an ambulance. Our Autumn Bracing there on that scene. Autumn, can you tell us what's happening?
Police presence. As you can see, it's been confirmed that Sgt Stephen Williams has died, and he was a 23-year veteran. He worked 3 years with the Moody Police Department. Police are currently here. They are standing in solidarity and support of the officer that died. That is the very latest right here in Birmingham now, live. Autumn Bracey, CBS 42 News, local coverage you can count on.
Autumn, thank you. This at conclusion to some breaking news we've been covering, learning tonight that a Moody police officer, Sgt Stephen Williams, killed in the line of duty tonight here along Moody Parkway at this Super 8 motel. 2 people in custody. Jack?
Our coverage continues right now at CBS42.com and all of our digital platforms. We will have the latest there as we learn it on this investigation. For now, that will wrap up our breaking news coverage on CBS 42. I'm Jack Royer.
And I'm Sherry Jackson. Don't forget the CBS 42 Morning News for much more on this story beginning at 4:30.
Yeah, I'll step out so that I can look at my phone. What is today of the week?
Tuesday.
Okay.
It's my Friday. Right?
You thought it was your weekend. Can we take our stream down though?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel by hitting the red subscribe button. And make sure you hit the notification bell. If you have problems receiving notifications, make sure you unsubscribe and then resubscribe and hit the bell again. On the right hand side, all of my channels will be available. And subscribe to all of them, because with YouTube censorship, there's no telling where I might have to move around. So make sure you subscribe to all channels available. And if you have a cell phone, in the description box of each and every single upload, you can follow me on social media You can also contact me via phone and email, and there will be a link to each channel to subscribe to. And also, don't forget to check out my playlists, my vision series, and my uploads over the past few years. You can go all the way back to the memory lane as well. If you would like to donate, Cash App and PayPal, $ Huggie Pacino, paypal.com/Huggie Pacino. Thank you for watching. I am Huggie Pacino for the Huggie Pacino Effect. Thank you.
Now that's Huggie Pacino certified.